Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's session in the Get Unstuck series with myself, Sarah Archer. I'm a career and leadership coach, if you haven't met me before, and I work with female leaders to create the kind of career success that's right for them without burning out or selling out. So if you are here watching live, it would be great to know. So please do say hello, let me know you're here. We've got a very interesting session today on expert ways to find your next leadership role. So I work with female leaders around either finding that next leadership role or having more impact and influence in their existing leadership role. And I've been a female leader myself. I was an HR director many years ago now. And so I know what it's like to be a female leader. And that's partly why I created the Get Unstuck series, because I know when I was an HR director, it was very hard to find the time to think about my career strategically. The day job was full on, my home life was full on. So I thought I'd create something that would give you a 15-minute window in your week to think about something related to your career or something related to the leadership challenges that you're facing in your career. So I do these sessions every 2 weeks now, and they're always practical, 15 minutes or so, always something you can take away to implement straight away. And I also now have a podcast called Unstuck and Unstoppable, and I'll put a link in the notes as well so that you can listen at your leisure if you want to. So the session today, 4 expert ways to find your next leadership role. I thought it would just be a really great reminder about what you can do to enhance your success, to set yourself up for success in your job search. Because the more senior you become, the more challenging it becomes to find the right leadership role for you. Because obviously there are less roles around because you're getting close to the top of the pyramid. There are less roles, and obviously there's more competition for those roles. And often a lot of those roles are not advertised. They're in that sort of 70% of the hidden job market. They might be advertised at a later date, but the positioning for them might be going on in that sort of hidden space, if you like. And that can mean it can feel more challenging to find an exec role, a leadership role. So if you are listening and you're finding it a bit tricky now and you're happy to share, just pop a yes in the comments for me so I know that this is something that resonates for you, that it is more challenging to find that leadership role. And obviously that can leave you feeling frustrated with the whole process, but also unsure about how best to approach your job search. And obviously I've been a career leadership coach now for 16 years. I've worked with a number of female leaders, some of whose story I'll be sharing a little bit today, who have navigated that whole exec leadership job search piece successfully, I have to say. So I'm going to share these 4 strategies with you today. Now, none of these strategies are rocket science. You will know them already. So they're A, a good reminder, but B, a good check-in, because if you're not utilising them, if they're not part of your current job search strategy, it's good to just check in why they're not. So are they not because you've got some self-doubt going on about where you're heading next? Maybe you don't have that clarity, or self-doubt about your ability and you're holding yourself back in some way. Is there some fear going on? So as I'm running through the 4 strategies, is that bringing up some kind of fear about failure, some fear about getting out there that you need to work through? Or is it a lack of knowledge? Is it just thinking, well, I just don't know how to go about that? So maybe just doing a check-in with yourself around those 3 things. Is it fear, self-doubt, or knowledge that's stopping me utilising these? So the first one is to harness the power of your professional network, because personal referrals are one of the most common ways that execs find their next role. So, when you're recruiting, so if you're a board member recruiting, or a member of the senior team recruiting, or HR recruiting, or exec headhunter recruiting, you're going to be thinking about who's in your personal network already, who'd be great for that senior role, so that you can maybe start nudging them, you can start encouraging them to think about applying or getting themselves ready to put an application in. So you want to be on their radar. You want to be in their sphere. They want to be thinking about you when they're thinking about who is going to be really great for that role that we've got. And, even though that job might go on to be advertised, that sort of positioning about who's going to be really great for it will also be kind of foremost in the recruiter, the board, the panel's mind. So they're already a step ahead of somebody who's coming at it cold. So what we want to be thinking about is, are you plugged into your industry network? Are you actively communicating with your network? Are you actively engaging with your network? Are you letting them know that you're ready for that next move? Are you letting them know what you're looking for? Do you think you're top of mind with the people who will be making decisions about the role that you want in the organisation that you want, in the industry that you want? Now, if you're thinking, well, my network, I'm just really not doing anything in my network at the moment, don't panic. It's not too late, because obviously the job search process for senior roles takes longer because there are fewer roles, and also the interview process can be a number of stages. So, you're thinking probably it's going to take you 6 months or so to find that next role. So you've got time to activate your network, to build it further, and to start really engaging with the right people. So, you can be thinking about using LinkedIn. It's a really great professional networking space. You can think you'd be reaching out for informational interviews with people in the industry. You can be thinking about regular contact with ex-colleagues, ex-bosses. You can be thinking about going to industry networking events or conferences, or places where you will be able to make new contacts. And you can be thinking about getting strategic, like who are the people that I really want to get on their radar, and start to actively engage and think about how you can build your network with them, what you can do to support them, how you can help them as well. So I had a client that I was working with a couple of years ago now, and she was a director of customer success. She wanted to kind of make a bit of a pivot in her career, and so she started really connecting and engaging with her network. She started utilising LinkedIn to have some conversations with people about what she was interested in, to try and kind of narrow down what she wanted. And she actually found her next role via a boss that she'd worked with 2 organisations previously, who'd moved to join a large organisation that was creating a new company within their group. And it was kind of a startup for them, and they needed somebody who could come in and set up their customer success and their customer experience function. And he immediately thought of her, and because she'd been actively in her network talking about looking for a new role, he knew she was available, she was thinking about moving. And so she still had to go through the interview process, but she was then successful at getting that new role and going into this kind of really exciting startup within a wider group structure. So really thinking about, who do I need to be connecting with, and if this is bringing up the heebie-jeebies for you, just think, I'm really not great at networking. Just need to drill down and explore that a bit more and work out what is going on and how you could do it in a way that feels good for you. Step 2 is connecting with executive recruiters and headhunters in your industry, because similar to your network, you want to get on their radar. You want to be building a relationship with them. You want to be trying to have a coffee with them, so that you are going to be top of mind for them when they are given the brief to find that senior person for that organisation. So they can be really helpful in your job search, because they're going to advocate for you. They're going to be interested in supporting you at this level, because their business is all about relationships. It's all about who do they know, who's going to be a great person to put in front of their client. So they will be open to having those conversations with you. Now, if you're not sure where to start, then you can ask your network. So again, kind of plugging into your network, it's a great conversation starter. Who are the great headhunters? Who are the great exec recruiters to work with. So you can ask for recommendations. You can also check out your current company, who would they use if they were going to recruit a senior role. You can have a chat with your HR team, find out who they would recommend as recruiters. You can also think about recruiters you might have been using in the past. So if you've got a good relationship, they placed you previously, then you could also talk to them about, are they working now at maybe that next level? If not, who would they recommend? And just start to build that relationship. So I had a client, she was a finance director, and she had found her current role through a recruiter. So she had a really good relationship with a recruiter previously. They were also recruiting in her current company for an MD, and she was on the panel. So she built a great relationship with the headhunter they were using for that particular role. But she knew she wanted to move. So she obviously kept building those relationships. And then when she was ready, she let both those recruiters know that she was looking. And one of them had a role for a finance director in a different industry that was really exciting for her. And because she'd got that great relationship, they then put her forward, and they were able to advocate for her about why, even though the industry was different, she would be a great fit for this particular organisation. And she subsequently went on and got that role. So although it was out of industry, she was based in the north, and they were recruiting in that area. So they were really great advocates for her. So again, it's just thinking about, do I know headhunters, recruiters? Am I talking to them? Am I building relationships with them? And if not, what do I need to do to get onto their radar? Step 3 is positioning yourself as a thought leader in your field. And to be honest with you, this is something you should be doing as part of your career strategy anyway, not just when you're job searching. But if you haven't been doing it, it's as good a time as any, because if you're thinking it might take 6 months to get my next role, you've got 6 months to start building that industry reputation if it's not there for you at the moment. So, recruiters often will source potential candidates from who they're seeing in industry publications, who's being asked to comment, who's writing for them, who's speaker at industry events, or similar directories. So it's definitely worth thinking, how am I sharing my personal brand outside my current organisation? And if you're not, how could you? And it's obviously doing it in a way that feels authentic to you. So thinking about, do I like public speaking? Do I want to maybe have the opportunity to do some presenting, finding keynote speaker gigs, looking for opportunities to speak at networking events, industry events, maybe being on a panel discussion, just having that opportunity, maybe doing some lunch and learns for not just your current company, but maybe your membership body, something like that. Or if you prefer perhaps writing, thinking about, could I start doing some writing for a publication, or getting onto the radar of some journalists that I could do some comments on particular issues. So that kind of thing. You can also be thinking again about using LinkedIn as a way of showcasing your thoughts, your opinions, through sharing articles, writing articles, commenting, and getting involved in group discussions. So you're just, getting in front of your network again, and they can see your voice. They can understand your reputation. So again, thinking what you want to be known for, and how's the best way for you to communicate that. And again, this can bring up, because obviously we're talking about visibility and brand, this can bring up some fears around doing this. So just understanding if you're feeling resistant to doing this part of the strategy, thinking about what's going on and what do I need in order to feel confident to be more visible and become more of a thought leader. So again, I had a client that I worked with a couple of years ago. She was a marketing manager. She wanted to become a head of marketing, and she really embraced the thought leadership idea. She really relished the opportunity, so took a lot of different approaches to it. So she looked for podcast guest opportunities around kind of female leadership. She worked in ed tech, so she was sort of specifically looking in that industry for opportunities. She started writing some articles on LinkedIn. She just started kind of talking about her approach to leadership, and she started just really positioning herself in terms of her approach to leadership within the edtech space. And so therefore, when she then made that move, and she did make a move into a head of marketing role, the organisation that recruited her had lots of great kind of information and sense of who she was as a candidate when she then went for the job that she was then successfully making that move into. So she really embraced that opportunity to become a thought leader, and she's still doing it now, and she's now moved into a marketing director role. Step 4 is to optimize your LinkedIn profile so that headhunters and recruiters can find you. So if you're not being approached about open roles at the moment, it could be that your LinkedIn profile is not really working for you. And, you know, to be honest, a lot of us don't pay attention. Well, I mean, I do because I'm a career coach, but a lot of clients I work with don't pay attention to their LinkedIn profiles. And, you know, if you haven't thought about whether it's optimized for keywords, key skills, for the job that you want to be found for, not your current job, but the job you want to be found for, then it could be that you're just missing a trick for not appearing in search results. So in your headline, in your about section, in your experience, in your skills section, your recommendations, you know, just doing an audit to see, am I actually showcasing myself as a potential client for the role that I want to be stepping into? And if you wouldn't shortlist yourself based on your LinkedIn profile, then obviously that's giving you good information about what you need to do to make your LinkedIn profile stand out. So again, I had a client who, she was a director of operations, and she really wanted to be a chief operating officer. And as part of the coaching program she was on, part of it was looking at her LinkedIn profile. And when we looked at it, we could see nowhere in there was she talking about chief operating officer. You know, she might have been picked up potentially because she was director of ops, but it wasn't really helping her to stand out as a potential candidate for a COO role. And so we did some very easy tweaks to help her then stand out as a potential candidate for those kind of roles. So because we know executive job search can take longer, because there's less role and the interview process takes longer, you could be really thinking about setting yourself up for success now by thinking about those 4 strategies. So, you know, leveraging your professional network, building it if you need to, thinking about getting on the radar of those headhunters and executive recruiters, to become a thought leader and look for opportunities where you can be seen to be demonstrating the knowledge, the reputation that you want to be known for, and obviously doing the kind of quite simple thing in a way of optimizing your LinkedIn profile. You're just going to be setting yourself up better for success, finding that next leadership role. So I would say the key takeaway from today, because you know all those strategies, is to think about where am I with them? If I did an audit of what I'm actively doing now, where am I with them, and what do I need to be doing to increase or optimize those 4 strategies? And also, if I'm not doing them or any of them for whatever reason, understanding what is holding you back, what is getting in the way for you, and then being able to take action to remedy that. Now, obviously, if any of these you're feeling, gosh, I really need some help with these areas, then obviously do book in for a free call with me where we can understand what's going on and we can devise a strategy to make sure that you are able to optimize and move forward successfully in these areas to really set yourself up for success to get that next leadership role. So I'll put a link in the comments if you want to book in for that call, that free call, then please do so. And I will see you back here in 2 weeks' time for another live on your career strategy and your leadership strategy. Have a great 2 weeks. Thank you for joining me.